in this section we have a for loop and practice 2. So right now I have 3 questions and we are going to practice for loop. So right now in the question number 1 says print all numbers between 1 and 10. So right now the list is not given, the tuple is not given. The only thing I see the range between 1 and 10, and it was asked to print every single number which is in that range. So in for loop we have another feature to not execute the numbers from the list or from the tuples, but generated by itself. So I will say for a in. So you see right now I have my a variable, and this a variable is going to be assigned to different numbers between 1 and 10. So for the first loop, the a is equal to 1. For the second loop, the a is equal to 2. The third one, the a is equal to 3, and so on and so on, all the way to the 10. So how can I create this range? How can I make that list that a is going to take from here? So there's another beauty of the for loop in Python, so we can make it without any list. So right now I will say that for I in range, and I will say 1 and 10. You see, right now I'm telling I'm telling my Python, hey, I have a loop and the a is going to be changed all the time, and numbers will go from the 1 all the way to 10. And right now I will say print a for me. So if I run it, it is going to print all of the numbers. But if you notice it here, I have a number 9 only, because whenever we use the range, the first number is included, but the second one is not included. That is a tricky point, guys. That is important. So right now we have 2 digits. It's a start point and it's a finish point, but the last one is not included. So in order to make the 10 included, I need to write 11, because the 11 will be not included and the 10 is going to be printed. Let me run it. So right now I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to 10. So that is another feature of the for loop, so without using any list or any other tuples for a in range. So here is another one. It says that I need to print all odd numbers between -10 and 10. So right now I have a different range. We used to have the range between 1 and 10. So right now it's a different, and also we can go to the negative. So I will make another variable. Let me just call it for y in range. You see, -10. And I want to include the 10 as well. So I will put 11, because the 11 is not included. And I will see what I can do. So we have a condition right now. It says that we need to print odd numbers only. You see? So right now, before printing anything, I need to compare the condition. I need to see if that particular number is odd. If it's odd, print it. If it's not, do not print it. I will say if y is divisible by 2, let me just, is not equal to 0. You see? So right now what I'm telling that y mod 2, let me just close it here. If that y, if I divided that by 2, if it's not equal to 0, I will say print y. Here is attention, guys. If I use that symbol right now, it says that it is meaning if it's perfectly divisible by 2 and there is no any remainder left, so that is going to print even numbers only. But since we need odd numbers, I will tell that if it's not equal to 0, let me just run it, and it is going to print all odd numbers only. Okay, so that is another feature that we use the range in the for loop. And the last now, it was misspelled. I want to print the sum of all numbers between 1 and 100. So what does it mean? So I have a range which is started with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to the 100, and I want to add all of them. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and all the way to the 100, and figure out what is my sum. So let me see. I will say for loop, so let me call it the sum as as in range 1 and 101, because I want to have these 100 included. But before going to the loop, I need to assign another variable. Let me just call it sum, which is equal to 0, because that is my count. That is my count. You see? So I have a range. Whenever the s is equal to, let me just get a pen so it will be easy and understand. So right now, I have my sum, which is equal to 0. So I have 100 loops. I'm going to have 100 loops like that one, and each time my s is going to be changed. So right now the s is equal to 1. The second loop, the s is equal to 2. Another one, the s is equal to 3, and all the way to the s is equal to 100. You see? So each time I want to add this number to that number. You see? So for the first loop, the 0 plus 1, which is equal to 1, so that one will be assigned to the sum. So right now the sum will be equal to 1. For the second loop, I will take this one and I will add to this one. So 1 plus 2, which is equal to 3. So this 3 is going to be added to the sum. And rest of them, after that, I will say 3 plus this 3, which is equal to 6. So each time, my variable sum is going to be changed for each loop. So let's say, I will say that sum is equal to sum plus s. So let's see what is going on. I will take the sum. What is the sum in the first loop? The sum is equal to 0. And what is the s for the first loop? It's equal to 1. So 0 plus 1, and I will assign to the sum. So we will disable it. So right now we have the sum was changed. So each time it will be changed. Whenever the loop is done, I want to print the result. You see, guys, so I need to go a little back to this position, and I will say, let me say the sum of all numbers between 1 and 100 is, let me put a sum. You see, so this sentence will be printed as a default, and that sum is going to come from here because that is going to be changed. So let me see. Yes, the sum of all numbers between 1 and 100 is equal to 5050. Let me just give crazy numbers. So for example, I want to make 1000 or even that number. If I run it, it is going to calculate all of them for me, and that is my number.